Live stream, and we are live.
We are
And
live.
just let my Facebook, yeah. And yes, this will just load and okay. Yeah. This is what happens. Can you see? I'm going to make one movie which just talks about how to just say, wait 1 second. My interview start like that, Amanda, every day. I have to switch it off because this voice starts on Facebook. Then I have to switch it off. I've not figured out how to do it. But anyway, I'm going to make a movie on that. Imagine 100 times saying the same thing, and then make a movie every day, clothes changing and doing that. So, good evening from India and good morning for many people who might just join in. It's very early morning for you, is it?
It's almost 8. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 for you. For it might be some of the moms. It might be 6 o'clock or PST. I think would be about 6 or something like that. But welcome everyone and 64th mom. You tell like every edition to after 60th. I've been just enjoying it because I am just getting more and more excited that my God, it's just happening. 100 moms are just around the corner. By Monday evening, we should be 70 moms done because I'm going to do two tomorrow and 2 day after, and then we should be two on Monday, and we should be 70 moms. That's a big number of mothers together. So thank you so much for all your support, so much love, unbelievable belief in the fact that something big is happening. And I'm totally excited with the messages I get, the conversations I'm having, and the awakening that's happening at my level and at the mother pulse level that I'm talking about. And yet again, we have a beautiful, beautiful mom. And one of the moms who I can feel right now with me through her work right here physically, Amanda from Worthy Ones. And welcome, Amanda.
Thank
Please go
you.
ahead and tell people about you and your journey till here, because the mother who lives the story tells the story the best.
Oh, okay. Let's just take a deep breath because the woman that I am today uh, was not the woman that I used to be. And I think that that's fair to say, even just on the journey of motherhood,
Right.
never mind motherhood, you become another person when you become a mother.
Yeah.
But I think for me, even becoming a mother, I was still very asleep, very unconscious. And I didn't know who I was as a sovereign being. I didn't know who I was as a woman. I didn't know who I was on a soul level, even before I entered that journey.
Right.
So that in itself, I think I remember the day so clearly, the night before I had my son, who is now 19, um, having a bath by myself. Then I give birth, and then the next day I have this child to take care of. And you've lost all sense of self. And what's more interesting for me and nobody prepares you. I think they need to write a book about that, where it's just like literally within 24 hours, you can't shower on your own, you can't sleep on your own, you can't go to the bathroom on your own, especially as a new mom, right? Like a first time mom, the second time, third time kids, you're a pro, but the first time mom.
Yes.
So for me, I think what's so powerful is, and I only understood this at 44 looking back,
Right.
that at 30 years old, I thought I had it all together. I mean, from the outside, I was winning at life. I had a great job, I had a beautiful home, everything, I was checking all the boxes.
Right.
And looking back, uh, I was like, oh, bless you, because you had no clue who you were. And so my journey really started as a professional people pleaser, right? Is oh, if you want me to do this, oh, then I do this. If you like this, then I like this. If this, if this, if this. And this was really, I didn't understand how much of a triple PhD I had in that subject and how much I would really
I like
chameleon,
it's so
right?
relatable. And I like the way you're saying it in such a great way of saying I had a PhD in it. Like, wow, all of us, many of us have had PhD in that, Amanda, without knowing what great work that we've done in having PhD.
And you don't understand, and it until you have to go back and you connect the dots backwards, right? I think this is why COVID, the year of 2020, has been such an awakening, because 2020 is the year, it's like perfect vision. And you
Right.
can only ever have perfect vision looking backwards, when you're able to connect the dots and go, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Right.
I had lost all sort of sense of self.
Right.
Um, I at 44 years old, I was evicted from life as I knew it. I was in a 6.5 year relationship, engaged to be married, raising my son. I'd raised my son as a single mom. And in the space of a week, the relationship ended due to mistrust and infidelity. And my son, in the same week, decided, I no longer want you to be my mother. I'm going to go live with my father. And so all my titles were taken away. So mom, wife to be, everything. And so for me, it was really hard, because I realized how addicted I was to the do of life. If I can do for you, if I can take care of you, if I can be a human ATM for you, if I can, because that's how I sourced my love. It's how I felt worthy of love, if I was doing for other people. And so the problem with that is, we're human beings. We're not human doings. And again, it's because when you don't have a sense of self, you chameleon. Where you don't feel enough in your life, you're always looking to fill up outside of yourself,
I just like, I'm a visual person. Wow, they just said that chameleon thing, just like woof. Like,
right?
I've never heard something like that about what you're saying, because sorry I interrupted, because
Not at all.
it just hit me when you said chameleon, you know. Oh my god. Yes, Lucy's here. Lucy is one of my favorite moms. Yeah, all my moms are favorite, but I just love Lucy. So Lucy is here to support us. And Lucy, wow, you just said that, and it's just hitting me that just we to do for so many people, we change like a chameleon. Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
And listen, that starts early, because as women, we are conditioned that way. We're conditioned to be caretakers. We're conditioned to source our sense of safety, or source our sense of love outside of ourselves.
Right,
Now, I only understood this at 44 with this great awakening, because I really wanted to understand, how the hell did I get here?
right,
How did my brain get here? Energetically, how did I get here? How was I so out of alignment that I gave up
right.
myself, and I never went on that journey to really claim myself? And I think there's probably a lot of women that are going to watch this, that it's that you feel not enough. Life circumstances makes you feel not enough of something. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not a good enough mom compared to the Pinterest mom, compared to whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're taught to source outside and compare, right? So when I landed here at 44 and all my titles were taken away, I had a beautiful opportunity to figure out who I was outside of that story. And I had a choice. I'm going to, put walls around my heart so high that nobody could ever hurt me ever again.
Right.
Or I'm going to take my son's words at 15 years old, and he said, "You are so out of control, trying to control me, that I'm out of here." And he was right, because I was so out of control on the inside that I tried to control everything on the outside. Everything had to be picture perfect. My house, there couldn't be a crumb. Everything was perfect. Why? Because I was so afraid that if I wasn't perfect, then I wouldn't be worthy of love. And this is where I went on the journey, which was, this is my second eviction notice. So my first eviction notice was at 18 years old. I was raped. And it was an extended family member, unfortunately. And my parents, God love them, I love my parents so much, they couldn't hold space for that. It was too much for them. So what happens is that we then bury that. But the message that translates to a young child is that you are not worthy of being heard, and you are not enough. And so when that message comes in whatever form, it could be big T trauma, little T trauma, the way our subconscious mind processes is it was we're not enough of something. So if I'm not enough of something, I have to be perfect going forward. So I'm not going to be rejected. I'm not going to be abandoned. I'm not going to be hurt.
Sorry, I'm going to stop you here.
Yeah.
It's very uncanny. Lucy, are you there? Were you there in the morning today listening to Lorette? Amanda, I will request you to go and see the interview just today, and two people talking the same thing today.
Yeah.
You must go and watch
I will.
the interview before, like, which happened just before you, and how carefully both of you have been placed for this, like, similar message. We talked about bandages. We talked about she was also raped by her grandfather at a very young age, and we talked about many things that you're talking about. And I think there's a reason we are talking about, because just before I started this, I had this I just had this crazy craving to want to talk about self-love. And I've been sitting and arguing and talking and exchanging conversations with my family, because extended family is here, about what's the definition of self-love, what's happening with self-love, what do you think. One of my, like, my brother-in-law has studied NLP. He is a coach coming up. My sister-in-law is reversing PCOS and realizing a lot of lack of self-love develops a lot of PCOS issues in women, and especially in India, being traditional and family situations.
Yeah.
And this is what you're talking about. This is what Lorette was talking about. And this is becoming weaved into something as a very big message. So I had to stop, because when you said the bandage, I was like, okay, now this is not us working. There is a message working right now. So we will talk about it. It's very interesting what you're saying. And the chameleon has hit me hard. The chameleon has hit me hard because I work with like, for me, my life is all visuals, and like, I see myself changing colors.
Yeah.
Because of people, like, the minute you said it, I'm like, oh my God, like, that's what's happening. So sorry, I get little stuck because I've been soaking so many stories and I speak to so many mothers.
Yeah.
When it hits, it also hits like a clue to me to move forward in a certain direction. And that chameleon, I'm gonna print that picture and put it and watch it and see it and watch a documentary of chameleon now, because you've given me a gift. So thank you for that.
But it's we're trained to become performers as women.
Right.
And we are trained to put other people ahead of us.
Right.
And the work that I have and I'm here to do, and I want to say the love that I'm here to spread instead of the work that I'm here to do, but the love that I'm here to spread in the world is to give women permission to fill up first, to figure out the journey. I thought, and I think most women on here can probably relate, is we think the journey to be, is to become things. As a woman, we become a mother, we become an entrepreneur, we become a dog owner, a homeowner, a wife, we become things. But the real journey is to unbecome all the limiting beliefs, all the stories, all the things that we've been told that are going to make us worthy of love.
Amanda, I'm just getting like downloads and chills, because we also spoke about undoing, how much we have to do more undoing. And I mean, I must,
Yeah.
and I'm not interrupting you, I'm just moving forward.
Beautiful.
There is a message that's coming through, because it can't be the 3 conversations today can just be around this can't be, right? And Melanie was there in the conversation in the morning, and she'll be amazed that the conversation is happening. And I was telling them that very recently I've had a visual. I was telling Lorette in the morning that I had the visual of being wrapped up in bandages, right? And I have this visual in just conversations, 2 or 3 conversations before with a mom, that I feel that we can't hear each other. Like, I was talking about me and my son, and I was just like, I feel that there's this white bandage all around, and every bandage is either a belief or a perception or an experience or a judgment or a I don't know what all. And then the voice inside, one can't be heard by anybody else outside, which is a lot of our complaints, because we have wrapped ourselves with so much that through that cloth, like, the voice is not coming, we are inside. And when you're a mom, And then you start wrapping your children, of course, with the similar thing. And then he goes inside the wrap. And then I used the word bandage. And then Laura said, it's very interesting that you're using it as a bandage, because our beliefs, everything is like a protection that we're trying to give to ourselves. And then she was
Yeah.
talking the same thing today. And I was blown away in the morning that I said a bandage. And then I was saying, okay, my son. And now I've started viewing people when I can't understand. And my mind goes like, I just can't understand what you're saying. And it doesn't listen. And I suddenly tell myself, dissolve the bandage and then see, can you reach out? Can you hear her? Because if they can't dissolve two thick layers of cloth, at least one can dissolve and then at least hear the other better. And it's working for me. And as a visual, right? It works for me as a visual. And now that you've given me another vision of a chameleon, I feel when the bandage is dissolved, all we can do is now, because we are open, like we are so open to hear, then we become like a chameleon. So then again, we get stuck, if not with the bandages of protection, bandages, like we then become this color changing thing so that we can at least become people pleasers, and we can say, okay, it's all right, we're being the better person by pleasing somebody and somebody's happier. And that's the story that's weaving since morning. And let's see where it goes from there. So that's why I wanted to
See, the thing about people pleasing that I never understood until I understood it, because you don't know what you don't know, is people pleasing is really actually a form of manipulation, because you are trying to manipulate their opinion of you because you have no sense of self.
Yes.
So when you can figure out who you are unapologetically in your story, which is a worthy woman who was born worthy and born enough. When we were born, we came out of the womb, we were screaming, we were bald, we were hungry at 4 a.m., we were going to scream. And somewhere along the line, we were told that is bad. That is going to cost us the loss of love. So we go, oh, okay, when I do this, this is the result.
Yeah.
So for me, the journey was unbecoming. It
Beautiful.
was taking my son's words and saying, wow, why am I so out of control? Why don't I accept me? Why don't I love the woman in the mirror? Why don't I even recognize her anymore?
Right.
Where did I lose her?
Right.
And it was a journey of going to get her up off the floor and rescuing that little girl inside of me and saying, I'm sorry I didn't know.
Right.
And then it was healing myself and then going back and getting my son. And the beautiful thing is my son and I have this beautiful relationship now, but because I don't feel the need to defend. If we don't agree, I just say, I listen, and I'm like, beautiful, thank you for sharing, because it's not about me. I am just a mirror to him and he is just a mirror to me. So what a gift. He shows me all the ways in which I am still not free.
And
That's
I
it.
remember in a connect call you did mention about this mirror, that sometimes people are showing us the mirror not to judge, but just to show it to us. Like all the opinions are generally sometimes not a judgment, but just a mirror to say that, hey, like this is what's happening to you, and we're just helping you see
Yes.
that. And
Everybody is a gift. I mean, the world is just a mirror and everybody is a
yes,
gift. And so when you can change it from that place and just say, wow, thank you, what a gift. It's hard. It's not easy because it's the constant evolution. It's the constant sort of going within and saying, okay, let me have a look at that. But it's so freeing because it's not about the other person. And how much energy do we put out trying to blame somebody else, right? So for me, it was really healing, getting to that place, and then realizing that what the number one common shared belief, it doesn't matter who you are, age, race, religion, socioeconomical background, it doesn't matter, is that we're not enough of something, right? That's the number one common shared belief. And if I am not enough of something, what do I fear? I fear loss of love. And love is the oxygen of the soul.
correct, absolutely, absolutely. And I was just trying to set up and send some messages to some people who really need to hear it. So while you were talking, I was like, tune in, because some people really need to hear you, Amanda. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Um, wow. And so beautiful. Like when did this happen? that you thought that what's happening to you is
A gift.
not a not a judgment, or it's just a mirror? Like what
It was a
happened?
gift. Well, at 44, when everything imploded, the universe earthquaked me. I mean, it literally took away, it earthquaked me. And I surrendered and I marinated at rock bottom like
Right,
a steak. Like I chose to just stay down because there was something I needed to learn on my knees.
right, right.
And I stayed there.
Yes,
My son didn't talk to me for 4 months.
right.
Why? I would drive by, he would look the other way. And I understood that he had made up a story in his mind to justify the freedom that he was seeking. He was seeking freedom because I was so out of control. I was the helicopter mom. I was the perfect Pinterest mom. Everything had to be perfect. I was dressing him in grade 9, right? Like, because I was so worried about what other people would say and think. And then when it got, and I didn't allow him to become his own individual self.
Right.
And so when I got that, and I was just like, okay, I need to just surrender. I need to fix me and then go back and ask for forgiveness and show him that I'm human and model a better way for it, because people don't hear what you're saying, they watch what you're doing.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
that's where I say at the beginning of the conversation, I am not the same woman, even a year ago, because I think our only purpose as souls is to evolve. Like that's why we came here, is we came here to learn the lessons and to keep evolving and keep transcending and keep alchemizing our pain. And I think women have a hard time with that. We want an easy button out of pain. We don't want to feel pain.
Amanda, are
Yes.
you a poet? Have you tried poetry ever? Have you tried poetry? 1 second, my light is flickering and I need to fix this. I don't know. Sorry. Sorry, I have a cough as well. Still, since
That's
last I
okay.
spoke to you, I still have the cough. Do you write poetry?
No, but I write. I mean, that for me, it's the way I've gotten to know myself is through writing, is through journaling, is through, because it's my only safe space where I could put words on paper and discover myself. So thank you. I'm glad that my words resonate. But yeah, it's
I need water, but I'll just talk to you 1 second. I'm sorry. It's all
that's okay.
no, it's all my excitement. My cough is just really not resolving. And I have been told there's a reason for that by healers, that the cough is not resolving. It's been 2 months. I don't know
Mm,
what it is. But like recently, I was told that you're dying to say something. There's a message that's trying to
yeah.
come out and it's stuck and it's not coming out, and that's for your coughing. Well, I say, okay, let me try that as well and start speaking up even more than I'm speaking. 100 interviews is not less to start speaking, right? Because
Yeah.
every interview, I also speak to 5 more moms before the interview and very openly like this. But I'm just loving this conversation that you're
Oh,
talking
thank you.
about, Amanda. And and I absolutely relate to you because like okay, everybody, I'm wearing what she's created. I'm worthy. Let's talk about this. Like when I received it, and on a very intellectual level, when you're doing all your self work and you're rediscovering yourself and you're reading books and you're going through coaching programs and people are like, you know what, try this, try this, try this, and you're trying everything because you know that there's something that needs to come out to shine so that you are not feeling stuck. And that urge that, oh my god, I'm not stuck and I can move forward and there's a better way. I received this, Amanda, and it's written, I'm worthy. I knew it at technical level, but holding something like that I'm worthy, and being sent by Kara to me and created by you with a handwritten letter, like I was like, somewhere in another part of the world, somebody has sent it through the post saying I'm worthy. And it really gave me a lot of power. So thank you for creating something like that. It's a very dear thing. I do not wear things in my neck usually. Whenever I get dressed up,
Mm,
also I have big earrings. But I immediately embraced it, and I felt that I need to wear this and get the message right inside saying you're worthy, because you do get lost. So thank you for creating this. What made you
thank you.
create this? What made you create
Well, I mean, here's the thing. When I wanted to understand how I got to where I got,
right?
I went down the rabbit hole of neuroscience, subconscious reprogramming, epigenetics, NLP. I have a background in psychology. So I really went on this quest to really understand on an energetic level and a subconscious level, how did I land here?
Right.
And so I actually created it for myself to begin with because I needed an anchor. I needed something to hold on to that no one could ever take away from me ever again.
Right.
Amanda actually means worthy of love. And
Wow.
it took me 44 years to claim that.
Wow.
So I wanted an anchor, a daily reminder that when I look in the mirror, I'm reminding that girl that she's worthy. And on the other side, it says she's enough. And so what happens through the power, I mean, these are not just an accessory, they're a science-backed tool, a functional tool that help your mind to reprogram your subconscious mind, because this is how the brain learns, is by repetition. So if somebody stands in the mirror, this is oftentimes why incantations don't work. You can't stand there and say, I am worthy, I am worthy. Your brain goes, bullshit. Look at all the stuff that you're doing contrary to that.
Right.
So for me, it's the cognitive dissonance that takes over. So for me, I wanted to create something which was an energetic daily reminder. It was a love note to my soul. And then through the power of epigenetics shows that words seep in like lotion to dry skin. So it was those words were starting to seep into my system. And as I looked at the girl in the mirror, my shoulders dropped and I was standing a little bit taller, and I was starting to receive the message that I don't find my worth and my validation outside of myself. This is a gift that I give to me.
Right. Right. And um um uh you know, why am I like, I'm taking these deep breaths. Sorry, I don't behave like that in interviews. Generally, I keep my and I behave myself, and like no tears coming in. I'm trying, like, only one person can cry, not other people. So, but you're giving me these words, like Lucy just said. I love that the universe earthquaked you. Do you know there's a poet residing in you and you don't know about it?
Apparently so.
I've headed a poetry movement, and for 12 years, and
Okay.
I've brought poets from age of 6 to 97, closet poets, out with an organization. I was like right there at the core of their organizations to bring poets out when we found them, just the way I'm bringing mothers out when we find them, that the shining moms need to be out. So everything, like, and it worked beautiful. When I was part of that thing and I photographed 400 poets, Amanda, like, every conversation during my photo sessions were like a piece of something that was gifted to me. And you've already, and Laurette in the morning has dropped so many gifts today. And you definitely in the poetic way. I mean, you throw imagery and you throw like literally poetic lines. And I would love to see you write a poem, because your poetry has the ability to touch many hearts. And I wish, like, I can see the first poem you ever write.
So my gift is to take something that's really complicated. So I write a lot on Instagram, is to
Right.
take something that's really complicated and to make it so um, it's digestible. Because the thing is,
Right.
and this is what I want every woman to understand, is what's most personal. So if I ask people in the chat, where do you feel not enough? Somebody could think they're alone with those thoughts. But what's most personal is what's most general.
Right.
So I want to be that permission slip. I want to share all my wounds and have somebody understand that if she could go through that, then I can too. Because this is how we band together as women, and our minds, our retinas are the first processor. So you need to see it to believe it.
Right.
So this is why this is so powerful, because I'm seeing it on repeat. So then we're kind of giving the message to the RAS, the bouncer part of our brain,
Right.
that has a checklist and says, I'm only allowing these things in based on your behavior.
Right.
So when you start to change your behavior, you're changing your identity. And then the bouncer is saying, oh, okay, so I'm going to allow in these things because this is deemed as important.
Right. Right.
So for me, it's this is my mission. This is my work, is to remind women everywhere
Beautiful.
that you were born worthy.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't source it outside of yourself. It's self-worth, self-love is what you feel about yourself.
Right. And I just messaged my family members, please see live, because we were just talking and discovering this whole thing about self-love. And sorry, my light is, I don't know, somehow going to go off. I don't know what's wrong with the light. Sorry.
Whoop.
If the thing, yeah.
Oh, you're on mute.
That's what happened.
There you go.
I can't see you also because I just looked straight into the light to increase. Sorry, I just keep doing this technical stuff. I'm known for it. All these technical glitches in the middle of my interview because
That's okay.
But I'm also very excited. You can see that I'm absolutely excited because just before this interview, I was like going on, and I told them, you know what we're talking right now is going to go in the interview, and that's what you're talking about. And because I've sent my family members and watch what I'm talking about. Let's just answer this to them because I left with a question. My brother-in-law said that self-love is all about you. Like, I can't tell you if you love yourself. I said, do you think I love myself? Do you think my mom-in-law loves herself? Do you think so you're asking this question. Of course, he's also from an NLP and he loves brain, all the studies that he's doing. And he said, I can only tell you about your self-care because that's physical. And then he said, I can't tell you about self-love because that's your inner journey. Do you think when you work with women as, talking to self, do you talk about self-love to them? Can you recognize that they love themselves or not? Because I left with this question and I'm like, okay, now I find another mom who's talking about it. So I'm catching you on that to extend that conversation. Do you feel that you as a coach can look at it and say, well, you need some self-love? Can you recognize?
Yes.
Yes?
Absolutely.
This is annoying me.
Because absolutely. I mean, your brother-in-law is right. It is an inner journey, and it's the way you talk to yourself about yourself.
Right.
So if you look in the mirror and you are picking yourself apart and you're looking and you're focused on all the things that are wrong with you,
right?
Somebody that loves himself doesn't do that, you know? And so my mom used to say, and it used to drive me crazy. She used to say, oh, you need to love yourself first. And I'd be like, of course I love myself. But the truth is, if I actually loved myself, I wouldn't have put myself in situations where every relationship up until the last one ended in some form of infidelity.
Right.
The truth is, I didn't love myself. So I self-betrayed. So it wasn't a question of them betraying me because I betrayed me first. I self-betrayed. I self-abandoned because I had no self-love and I had no self-worth.
Right.
So it absolutely, it's a question of how do you talk to yourself about yourself? And when somebody says, and oftentimes women have a hard time with this because they think that self-love is selfish.
Just this conversation I'm telling you, just before, that's why I messaged. I was like, look at this interview. Even if you're sick of me going for interviews day and night, look at this, because my family keeps seeing me. And I just send them a message because that's exactly what I was saying, that if you sometimes say self-love, a lot of people get defensive because they think we're talking about being selfish, or we're telling them, oh yeah, you're selfish. How do you spread that message? And I was telling this to my sister-in-law, that how do you spread that message saying that I'm not talking about being obsessed about me. I'm not talking about, hey, look at me and I love myself and that's why I'm so happy. Like, how do you, people who don't even know about it, how do you convey that as a coach or through living, that people don't think you're self-obsessed, because people who sometimes taking the journey of self-love talk about self-love so much that people who've not taken it feel, why is she so obsessed with herself, right?
Well,
Like
self-love
that's
is it's an embodiment.
right,
It's a way of being.
right,
It's a practice. It's not a one and done. It's a practice.
right,
So,
like
I
that,
mean, the flight attendants have it right, because the flight attendants say, put your oxygen mask on you first.
right.
But to the people that think it's selfish, I have this question. Who do you want to be full of, if not self?
Right. And Melanie is just
Who do
right. Nothing wrong with being selfish. We have to put ourselves first to be able to serve others. And whatever you're talking, I was just like, why am I so excited, Amanda? I was just talking about it half an hour before, and I got into this overly excited conversation with the put the family down and say, I want to know about it. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? Because they're into reversal of PCOS, and I'm like, yeah, you talk about it all the time. What do you think? And then my brother-in-law sits, and I'm like, what do you think about it? My husband sits, and I was going on and on about it because I was very inquisitive about, and what you just said, it's an embodiment, it's a practice. It's not done and gone. You don't have to do it and then, oh yeah, I love myself and it's done. And these are great
but
messages sending
but
out.
it's how you treat yourself, because how you treat yourself, you are your longest relationship. You are your longest commitment.
Absolutely.
So how you treat yourself is a foundation for how other people are going to treat you.
Absolutely. Melanie,
So
Lucy,
if
Kavita are all here, and I want to tell them before. Please drop in a message of how amazing Amanda is putting it very simply for all of us. And this is a message, Bhavneet, all of like this is amazing, and I want a lot of love to be sent to Amanda in the comments because they are here looking at it.
yeah.
I think she was very carefully put at 64, right? Not at the end, right? Not at the beginning, because we needed to reach her and spread this message. Um, Amazing, Amanda. You can go ahead.
Oftentimes I think when people say it's selfish, it's if somebody's going to say to you, oh, you taking care of you is selfish, what they're really saying is, you putting you before putting me first so you can take care of you is self. And they're gonna like, wait a minute, so me taking care of me is selfish, but you want me to put you before me and not take care of me and take care of you instead, and that's not selfish? So then it sounds a bit screwy, where you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
And that stops people in their track. But here's the truth, especially as mothers, if we don't have an abundance
Right.
of self-love, of courage, of patience, of whatever it is that we need, if we don't have an abundance of it, if we are not in overflow, what are we? We are in dehydration.
Right.
And then when somebody wants that from us, then we get upset. Oh, why can't you give me 5 minutes? I just want to go to the bathroom. I just want to have a bath. We react because we don't have an abundance of it. So when we have a reservoir and our tanks are always full, then we don't react. We don't get resentful. We don't take love away.
Right.
We're not short fused. We don't react, because it's just like, when you're happy, you don't try to be more happy.
Right.
You want everybody to be happy.
Right.
So the foundation really is a sense of self. And who would you rather be full of if not self?
Beautiful. And Bhavneet is saying, totally. I know Bhavneet, we like, I definitely know this message, Bhavneet, is coming to you directly to your heart because I understand you. And I somehow Bhavneet is coming up again and in the comments. I have to reach out to her, and I'm so happy that she's seeing this because I know some people who I know in my life really need to hear it, including me.
But listen, the reason why we don't put ourselves first is because we fear loss of love. We fear rejection. We fear abandonment. That if I put me first, then I'm not going to be needed. And if you don't need me, then you're not going to want me. And if you don't want me, then that's going to be loss of love.
Loss of love. Absolutely, absolutely. Bang on point.
But is that true? right? So then when we can question those thoughts and say, well, is that true if I go take a bath? Or is that true if I go read a book? Or is that true if I fill up on self? Because then you're your best possible version of you.
Right. Right.
So of course, everybody wants to receive the best possible version of you. So
Right.
that's where I would invite women to question their thoughts, because here's the thing that was the game changer for me.
Right.
Understanding that just because I think a thought doesn't make it true, number one.
Right.
And just because I think a thought doesn't make it mine.
Right. My God.
So, so if you have a thought that's rolling around in your head that's negative,
right.
that's disempowering, that's fear driven, that's not your voice. That is not your higher self. That's not your voice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what's happening now is that this day is getting marked in this whole journey of 64 days of interviewing moms, and 60, more than 64 days, 30, and almost 70 days I've been on this journey, or maybe more. And that's where we're reaching, because this book also needs to give this message, Amanda, that uh, that it start, like you just said, that the thoughts are not your thoughts as well, and that's also uh, like how, like how and when does it happen that we bring other people's thoughts and we put it in our bowl and start thinking and consuming it as our food, and think that this is the food that I was meant to have, and then feel sick about it and then not understand the we consuming that somebody else put in our bowl without our permission, or we
Yep.
granted permission, and then we're just consuming it and now feeling sick about it and not understanding that we've not eaten the right thing,
Yeah.
soul level, consumed the right
Well,
thing.
this is the thing, right? So from 0 to 7, if you want to look at it like the analogy of a computer, from 0 to 7, we get all the programs downloaded into us by society, by our parents, by our greatest source of love.
Right.
And because we trust the source, we accept the download. But we don't realize that over time, that those aren't our values. Those aren't our beliefs.
Yes.
Those things are not serving us because there's generational trauma. There's people, now we have Google University, we have YouTube University, we have all kinds of self-help books out there. Our parents didn't have that. So they did the best they could with what they knew.
Yes.
So as, evolution happens,
Yes.
if we're not constantly upgrading, we upgrade our phone every, month, there's a new iOS.
Yes. Yes.
But we don't go upgrade ourselves.
Yeah.
And so the way you upgrade yourself is start to question your thoughts and say, does this thought serve me in the highest and best way?
Right. Right.
So oftentimes it's not your thoughts. When you're standing in front of the mirror critiquing you, that's not your higher self. That's not your little girl inside of you. That is, a mean girl from the playground in high school that said, hey, you're X, Y, and Z, or it's an old boyfriend, or it's a partner, or it's a mother, or it's society.
Right.
So it's not your voice. So this is where, and particularly right now during COVID, okay, people have linked up and they have attached their worth to productivity. So if I am not doing, if I am not, I'm not doing enough, I'm not running enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough. And we attach our worth to our productivity. And what happens? You are alone with these things. You're alone with the thoughts between your two ears, and they're not serving you. And what happens is that it's a downward spiral from there.
Oh yes. Why I did this was because I am amazed at the zone I am in, with this book going ahead. And my husband just like, he was asked, what do you think is self-love? And he says, oh, when I can perform optimum in productivity at every level, at personal level, at just 20 minutes before, he just said that. And we were all trying to process it and we're like, well, I don't know, maybe that's what it is for you. So he just said, then when the productivity is not hampered, and I can perform at optimum, I think I've done self-love. And when you just said that,
It's, the problem with that is what happens if he loses his job,
yes,
right? So this is what happened to me is I attached my worth to being a mother, to being an almost wife. I attached myself to all the titles. But what
right,
happened and what life in the universe showed me is all those titles were then taken away from me. And who in the hell was I if I wasn't going to be somebody's wife and I wasn't somebody's mother?
right,
So when we attach ourselves externally, what happens when the kids leave? What happens if a divorce happens? What happens if you lose your money? So, right? So a sense of self is how you feel about yourself, with yourself, and it has nothing to do with anything else because those things, the only constant in life is change. So
right,
what happens if those things change?
right.
So
And
will you still feel worthy if your title changes from president to vice president, let's say, or from, the company downsizes and you went from president to associate? Would you feel, oh my God, I'm not as worthy because I don't have the letters beside my name,
right, right.
right?
No, I and you can talk. I can see that. Like I can keep sitting here and talking because I'm learning and I'm downloading and I am. All these questions are coming to me anyway. But everything. As I keep mentioning, that I totally believe is also a clue that's coming. And I'm going to sit down today and think about what the clue is that the whole day is gone thinking and talking about it. And you're putting it absolutely beautifully at the end of the day, the way you're putting it forward, Amanda. It's
Thank you.
just beautiful. I love the like I can understand what you've created with what you want, what the soul behind that is. Where is it
Every
coming?
woman needs it. Every woman needs the reminder. If not for it, how would you show up? How would your life changed if you believed you were worthy and enough? Because you are.
Right.
The truth is you were created that way. And so my job, my mission, my passion, my love, my honor is to remind women who they are before they were conditioned to be who everyone else needed them to be and wanted them to be.
Beautiful. And here is another thing. And I think one of it was Kara's session that I was in, and then she was saying something interesting that we make judgments about people, and then there are people who are doing a lot of work, and then they change, but people around them still keep thinking, this new her is not her. Like this new her is totally like she can't be. Look at for so many years she is like that, and how can she change? And a lot of women deal with that as well, like you know that people have decided around them that this is what they are, and then that shakes for them, and there is a new breakthrough for this new woman, and she is trying, but when she goes back to the same space, she like people still look at her and say, it might be fake, we know her very well, it's like she's going to come back, and these kinds of judgments are also thrown. And when that happens to people, there's a new thing that people say, hey, surround yourself with people who are your people, surround with yourself people who, resonate with you. Sometimes many people can't like let go of people just because they are disagreeing with them. And then it pulls them back. And they again start getting into the circle of their hamster string. That I think what they're saying is right, but maybe it's a temporary stage. Like something like that happened to me when I was very young, when somebody, like I used to smile a lot and people used to compliment my smile, and there was my friend who said, hey, you smile because you're got a lot of pain, but this smile is a fake smile. And I was like, for the first time thinking, I'm like, oh, she reads a lot of psychology, and she reads a lot of Rumi and poetry, and so maybe she knows what I'm talking about. I started to believe that, yeah, I should not smile, and I should not be this whole positively positive, because maybe I'm not that positively positive that everybody does me. But because I trust her, and this is not, I'm not trying to gossip or something, and it took me to a path for years that I started to believe that I had this need to want to be in a sad situation so that I can be worthy. Like
Mhm.
again, I'm like saying, to be worthy of being an honest person, I need to go there, like that way. I was very young. I'm talking about when I was 18 years old or 19 years old.
Yeah.
even that happens to people. The reality changes, and that's why you say chameleon. I changed into a darker color when I'm now, sitting there being a light person. I changed myself into a dark color, thinking, no, 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 unless I'm dark, I'm not worthy, I'm not nice. That happens. You see that happening to women around.
For sure. Listen, it happened to me. And the reason why it happened to me, as well as it happens to everybody,
Yeah,
is because they don't know who they are at a soul level. They don't know who they want to be in their own story, and they don't believe they're worthy. So when I get people that go, oh my God, you've changed, I'm like, thank you. It was a lot of hard work, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for acknowledging it and seeing me.
right,
Now, the only reason why somebody's going to project it is because they're afraid of the loss of connection, number
right,
one.
right,
Number two, that they're going to lose the friendship.
right,
And number three, that it shows them you are a mirror that they aren't growing.
right,
So I'm going to put you down in the hopes that you stay back,
right, right,
as opposed to just saying, hey, listen, thank you for seeing me, and energetically, you're a mismatch. And what happens is that the universe then just, it's like you outgrow people. You've heard the saying reason, season, lifetime.
right,
It's people are put in your path, and some people can only take us so far on the journey, and that's okay. That's okay. It's like us trying to fit into to jeans, when we were 8 years old. Like, we can outgrow our clothes, so why can't we outgrow and keep evolving and not make it be that there's something wrong with us?
right. No, beautiful, and that's really beautiful. And moving on from there, like this whole book about how I discovered what's happening in the world of, and many things have happened since last I've had a conversation with you as well, Amanda. In the next step of awakening through this book, the next step, obviously, which I'll talk about, but I have to, because I get carried away in conversation. I love doing it. I keep forgetting there are new people joining in every day trying to watch this. And then a lot of replays are going to be watched as well, because I'm going to make a YouTube channel out of all the 100 interviews and
Oh,
promote
beautiful.
that channel as well. This whole self portrait movement that I want to start, and discovering people through self portrait, to be able to see them, to be able to see their stories, to be able to very confidently say, not this is the story, but this is one of my stories, and this is how I want to depict it. Doesn't matter, I'm a blur or I'm not, I'm a dancer, because I am telling everybody this book is not going to be portraits of you, it's going to be a self portrait story of you, right? When it's the page opens up and they look at the page and they're like, before they even read, and that's why very consciously I put only 300 words, because I don't want anybody to explain. I just want them to have a glimpse of them, of who she is and why she's here, or whatever, in those 300 words. But I want that page and people to halt at every page and say, wow, this is another shade of mother, and what is she trying to do or say through her story? And that's the tough part, because as one of the moms, Cherie, said, that you are telling us to declare our story in that one frame forever in a
Mm.
book. It's a tough one to do, because so much happens, the chatter. Like, what if I, like, if I dance and I'm jumping and I am 65 years old and I'm jumping in the air with my loose hair, and if that's the story I want to tell, what are people going to think? That she's only lost it at the age of 63, she might have a knee break or something like that. So much judgment before even anybody will be able to put their story. They will be taking that effort. What do you have to say about that? Do you think that if you stood in front of the camera, in spite of so much self-love and understanding of it, will you be able to declare your story very easily through a self-portrait?
I um I don't know how you I've actually sat with it. I'm like, how would I what's my picture going to represent?
Right,
I'm not sure yet.
right,
And I'm not sure that one frame can capture your whole story, but I am sure of this, is that I am so proud of the woman that I am, and it's such an honor to be included in the book, and that other people's opinions of me, if somebody is envious or somebody is jealous or somebody's judgmental, it's not about me.
right,
It's about themselves, and it's about You know, this is where I think people really have jealousy wrong. People think jealousy is a bad thing. And jealousy is actually just your soul telling you, hey, that's something that you want. So if you have that 63-year-old woman that is free with her hair flying in the air and you're jealous of that, that's your soul saying, hey, go play more, go be unapologetically you.
Right. That's beautiful. Something, Teresa. Amanda, thank you for throwing these beautiful things, because you are also throwing. I need to write blogs about this. The day is gone like that. I need to write a blog on it for sure. I'm not a writer. I'm a visual person, but I will definitely take help in putting all this together, taking out and put in a blog with the website that's coming up. Um, like you're right, jealousy is not about that. And that's what, like, when I'm approaching these 100 moms, and I know a lot of them are frozen, I try to do my best to make the resistance that,
But
yeah.
they're frozen. I'm going to interrupt you. They're frozen because they're being seen for the probably and maybe for the first time.
Yeah, yeah.
They're being seen that their story matters, because it's true. All of our stories matter.
And as a mother, and it's even more special for them, because they're not talking here about, I've earned $10,000 a month, or I've cracked it, or I've learned this technology, or I've done this. They are being honored as a mother, that you
As a
are a
person.
mother. Yeah. So this book is like the mother pulse that I'm going to talk to you
Yeah,
about, that we've
yeah.
discovered. Just being that mother, um, not like, it's not about your children. Like, a lot of women come back to me and they call me and they say, can we include about our children? Because a lot of times, it again goes, the story goes back. It's the mother who's that woman that we are celebrating, that who was she first, or who she is apart from being a mother. Like, that's what we're celebrating here.
And
Right?
that's the journey,
Yes.
right? Because through my son, through the last 4.5 years, I discovered who I am
Right.
as a mom.
Right.
Because before, I was a walking set of programs. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to be. I was following the recipe that was handed down to me.
Yes.
But the fact is that that recipe was so outdated that
Right.
when I was cooking up that recipe, it didn't work for us.
Yes.
It was so mirrored in anxiety and outside opinions, and you should do it this way and you should be that way, that didn't suit us. Today, my son and I can pitch and catch and we laugh, and I can hold space without judgment. My son taught me what unconditional love is.
Right.
For the first time, I've never known what unconditional love was because I had to perform for it.
Right.
Now, my son has taught me, I
Right.
love you because you exist.
Right.
And
And
I can love him because he exists,
right.
not if he's perfect,
Right.
in spite of his imperfections.
Right. And what you're saying, I can resonate with that, because my son taught me, like, he taught you all the great things, but when I had my first child, he taught me that I feel abandoned, because my mom was taken away at the age of 6, being a schizophrenic and taken away, and I was just walking with this whole feeling that doesn't matter. Like, I have such a loving father, I have a brilliant family, I have so much love.
Yeah.
What am I to complain? And
Yeah.
the first time when I started breastfeeding him, in the dark, sitting with him, I was just like, he made me realize that I felt abandoned. It took me 9 months, in the first 9 months, to realize what it was that I was missing. And I was,
But
and
like, what a beautiful gift.
yes, and that's what I say, that as a mom, I realized it, that I was also like, even if I was trying to be like, I usually say, trying to be this helicopter mom, but I was also covering up for my childhood and trying to be that to him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's only grown till this project. That's the reason this project is here today, because
Yeah.
I have realized that any mother, all mothers are doing this journey, sometimes the reason back in their childhood, sometimes the reason back in their teenage. And your children come here and they give you a message. If you still keep avoiding it, you like it's a chance for you to reconnect to what it is.
Yes.
Because And that's what is the mother pulse that I've discovered, Amanda. Since last I had a conversation, and of course we were just getting this conversation going on and on. And one fine day in Debbie's interview, I said, you know what? There's a mother pulse that I have started to see. I have a vision. I have a picture of a mother pulse that I keep talking about. And every time I say
I
the
love
word
it.
pulse, something happens to me here, because
Yeah.
there's a mother pulse from B to the universe that I'm seeing. That there's this B, and that's what I was talking to Lorette in the morning, that all the extinctions are happening in the world because the mother pulse, the mother is giving up. The B is done. I'm only 13% of bees are left because she's done, and she's like, I don't want to create more. It's better to get extinct. The deer is getting extinct because they're like, I don't have more, the deers are not getting extinct, but the tiger is, and many things that are going away because these things that were placed at the mother pulse. And the mother in humans are also getting away, because we are getting away from this pulse that is running through. And then of course I mentioned that this pulse is so ancient that it was even there before dinosaur. Even like on the first day this thing was created, this pulse was created, and it's coming down till today through everything that exists. And I was talking to Lorette in the morning, and I said, can you imagine if this pulse dies? And she's like, yeah, we're going to get extinct. And I'm like, yes.
But this is the great wake up call for us women everywhere,
Yes.
that I was dying on the inside. I was existing. I wasn't alive.
Right.
Because I wasn't connected to source. I wasn't connected to self.
Right.
I spent more time tearing down the woman in the mirror than I did celebrating her, than I did having her back.
Right.
And when we can start to flip that narrative, and we can start to celebrate ourselves, then it's just love. Then there's uplifting. Then there's collaboration. There's
Right.
no more competition, because you are you and I am me, and I see me and you see me and me, and like we're one.
Right. Right.
Like what a beautiful world that would be.
Yes, it is. And my submission to this whole thing is that, like, so I've been doing this lately, is that I like, if I'm feeling lost, I close my eyes and I see the pulse, and I'm like, what is that pulse going to tell me to do at this point, right? And the pulse tells me to nurture. The pulse tells me to move forward. The pulse tells me to take charge, because I know, not because I don't know. So the aligning with the fact that I know, and very beautifully, a pediatrician had told me long time back, that the day you become a mom, an encyclopedia is downloaded on
We know everything.
the whole
Everything is
encyclopedia is downloaded.
yes.
We do not need to ask anyone what to do with
No.
our child, and when the child is unwell and when the child is okay. Like, we do not need to ask, but we start validating from other people saying this is not okay, this is not right. And that's how he told me. He's like, look at the bear. The bear knows to go inside the cave for 6 months. Only then her cover good. Nobody teaches the bear that now you become a mom. Now, you know what? The other bear are going to surround her and say, you need to go inside the cave, otherwise the children are. They just know. So that's the pulse I'm talking about, that the pulse will guide you to the right thing. That's the creator's pulse. And we women are the keepers. Whether we are bearing children or not, we understand that pulse, the maximum. So
yeah,
that's where it's going, and that's where this project is going, and that's where I'm feeling that if we close our eyes and I've spoken to many women, I don't know what you have to say, so I'm putting this question on you.
yeah,
That when I tell you there's a pulse, there's a mother pulse. When I tell you that this is an ancient pulse, even before dinosaurs, do you feel it? Do you feel yourself on it?
Yes, it's a knowing.
Yeah.
It's a knowing. It's our intuition. I mean, we have it, and most people are so disconnected
Right.
from our own intuition that you're 100% right. Like everything that we need is here.
Right.
It's within us. It's not out there. It's here.
Yes.
And so when we can, it's the journey home.
Yes, it is.
So when we can go home to ourselves,
right,
we've arrived.
oh yes, Oh yes, and it's beautiful, and it's
And we're
just
much more powerful from this place because that's a place of sovereignty. It's a place of unconditional love for self and others.
yes,
You're in that aligned vibration, the
yes,
vibration of love, and that is what we need to,
yeah,
to transcend and to make it through
right,
this new world.
right,
We need worthy women everywhere to start rising up
right, right,
and to grab and hold the door for other women
right.
and to see other women.
Yes, and that's what this book is going to do. And that's what I keep saying, that it's a vessel in which all the women are coming together of 100 shades,
Yes.
100 kinds, but with one message that, yes, of course, your message that you have, we are worthy. And also the message that uh, if we align ourselves, I'm calling it a pulse. Like I was talking to Kara. Kara's like,
Yep.
I call it a beating heart. For me, it's that beating heart that comes to my mind when I'm talking about that I have to start telling women to talk about the beating heart, that keep that beating heart alive. And you're talking about a pulse. And for me, and of course, you will have your own way of describing it. But for me, I feel when we drop off that pulse is the one time we are very, very lost. And
Well, without the pulse, what happens?
we get
If you don't have, no,
this,
but exactly, we die,
that's
right? So there
that's
is, I mean, it's death. It's
yes,
we
yes,
all we you know,
yes,
it's the difference when people say, and this is a lot of the work that I do, is that the difference between, because you're not your mind, right? Your mind and your brain are two different things. So
right,
the only difference between somebody who's alive and somebody who's dead is the mind, and the mind is able to walk, talk, create, think, and it has a pulse,
right. And I'll write
right?
before I wrap up. I know you also have another interview, so I will wrap up. I'll tell you a poem that I wrote long time back. It's called A Lifeline, and it was inspired by the ECG. Um,
Oh, wow.
and I was sitting in a hospital, and this poem came. It's called The Lifeline, and it says, join the two obvious dots of birth and death. The line between those dots creates your life. A straight, monotonous line or an interesting pattern in between. Choose your lifeline, right?
Mm,
And it's, we get like people who are dead in an ECG, their lines go straight. It's
yep.
the ones who are searching and finding and going up and going down and going up and going down are alive, not vice versa. We have started to believe that the ones who are in control and everything is going perfect on the surface are the ones who are doing everything right. But this one wonder is like this up and down. Amanda's going up and she's going down, and she's going up and then she's getting sick, and Ashika going up and she's going down. That's madness. That's crazy. But reality is that's the pulse. I wrote this 20 years back, but I never knew I was so in touch with that pulse even then, Amanda. And this up and down is the pulse. It will
It's
go
the
up and
journey, it's life, it's the
down.
journey,
Journey.
right?
It's
It's
the
the
journey.
journey of life, and it's the journey that we're collectively all on. And I want to thank you for inviting me on your journey, and it's been an honor to be here to share and hold space with
Welcome.
you.
Oh, it's been an honor here as well. I know I can talk to you forever because you will throw even more nuggets here, which everybody can learn from. Before you leave, Amanda, what's your
Yeah.
dream? What's your dream? If I say, what's Amanda's dream? What's your dream?
My dream is to continue the mission that I'm on. My worthy ones to date have saved 5 women to suicide. Um, my mission is to and my dream is to continue to inspire worthy women everywhere to rise and to know that they are enough, they're doing enough, and it's enough.
Right,
The chatter, it's enough.
right. It's enough.
So that
Beautiful.
it's enough.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
because the book is called 100 Self Portrait, 100 Dreams. And we are going to be unveiling 100 stories of mothers who are going to put their story or part of their story, not for themselves, but to release and inspire the world. To release and say, we can do it.
Yeah, if I can be that, my story can be a page in somebody else's survival guide.
Yes.
Thank you. That's it.
Beautiful. So I will let you go from here, in spite of the fact that we can learn so much from you, Amanda. And I welcome you
Thank
to
you.
the book. And
Thank you. I
I'm
appreciate
waiting to
you.
see your page. I'm waiting to see your page. Is what your, because I'm anyway waiting for the whole book, but I'm waiting to see Amanda's page and what does she have to say to her picture and her 300 words. It's going to be something. So thank you so much. I'll go offline.
Thank you.
Lucy is supporting us, and Melanie has been supporting us, and Bhavneet, and Kavita. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to go off live and